Hi, it's Joel. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for our weekly money saving newsletter out to members. It seems like everybody's talking about petrol this week, so I thought I'd make a short video about what's happening with petrol prices, what you can do about it, and what the short to mid-term kind of outlook is in terms of will it get higher, will it go lower, will it stay about the same. If you've driven anywhere recently, if you haven't been living under a rock, you'll notice that prices are around $2.20 at most petrol stations for regular unleaded, and it goes up from there. We've never seen petrol prices like this in Australia. It's being driven by a few different factors, but the icing on the cake really is the Russia-Ukraine crisis, because Russia is a major oil exporter. The US and the UK have announced a ban on Russian oil, and that has come on top of a year in which global economies have rebounded from the pandemic. The demand for oil has skyrocketed, but oil-producing nations haven't boosted supply sufficiently to keep up with the rising demand. And they've done that intentionally because they didn't want the price to plummet. So what does it all mean for us as motorists, as punters? Well, interestingly, the oil price and the Singapore wholesale price have actually dropped over the past week. They've come back down, not right back down to where they were at the start of the month, but they have come off that really high peak that happened about a week ago. That may mean that prices will stay where they are or come down slightly in a couple of weeks' time, probably not in the next week or two, because the price cycle now is kind of, well, it's a bit unpredictable, but it's at least a couple, if not more, 3-4 weeks. And so we are at the peak right now, $2.20. The average around the country was $2.15 earlier this week. The average for last week across the whole country was just under $2. So we'll probably hit an average this week of around $2.15, and that may be the peak. It remains to be seen. So we're crossing our fingers that the next price cycle will be lower than this one. But of course, there's so much going on at the moment. It is so unpredictable with the war in Ukraine, and all these other factors influencing, global crude oil prices and the Singapore wholesale prices. Interestingly, in New Zealand, as of yesterday, they have cut the fuel excise from every single litre of petrol by 25 cents a litre for a 3-month period to try and get people over this worst period, this kind of peak that's happening as a result of the war in the Ukraine. They've also halved public transport prices for that 3-month period, and there's a strong push here for Australia to consider doing the same thing. I mean, the fuel excise is problematic. It's a 44 cents a litre tax on every single litre of petrol that we buy, and